Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at all the highly anticipated manga releases for the month of April. As usual, I only recommend new volume 1s or upgraded editions of previously released stuff like an oversized hardcover, a box set, things like that. I'm not going to recommend a volume 40 of a long-running series. So with all of that out of the way, let me remind you that you can like, comment down below, and share the video. That helps out a ton. You can join my Discord to continue the conversation. The link is down below, and of course you can become a member and help out the channel. I would be forever thankful. So let's get started. We begin our journey with Pink Candy Kiss Volume 1. This is written and drawn by Ami Uozumi. This is published by Viz Media, and it's an ongoing GL drama shoujo series that first started publication back in 2022. After 20 years apart, Takara reconnects with Emma, the girl she nearly kissed in middle school, who's now a beautiful married woman. Takara's world turns upside down when her best friend from middle school re-enters her life. She's bewildered by how the shy, quiet girl she once knew has grown into a charming woman with an air of mystique. Despite Emma being married, Takara can't help but think there's something special about Emma's cool, soft hands against her skin. From Kodansha, we have the dashing Zaddy and his icy protege. This one is written and drawn by Fumito. It is a boys' love workplace rom-com that's still ongoing. First started publication back in October of 2020. The second sales division at Itsuboshi Trading Company is headed up by Mr. Takanashi, one of the firm's top performer, and a charismatic knockout at age 40. One of his subordinates is the equally hot, cool, and calculating 26-year-old Hiwatari. Practically every woman at the company has attempted to stir up an office romance with the magnetic Takanashi. But this dashing Zaddy has turned them all down because he secretly has ED. Meanwhile, Hiwatari seems like a scary robot on the outside, but he's actually looked up to Takanashi since he started working with him 4 years ago. When Hiwatari gets a chance to spend the evening with Takanashi, he reveals more than he meant to. From 7 Seas, we have the release of Versus Love Volume 1 by Chise Ogawa. This is a BL delinquent series that ran from 2022 to 2024. 12 chapters collected across 2 volumes, and this is a BL take on Romeo and Juliet with delinquents. Fun High and Raiden High are 2 rival schools locked in an intense turf war, led by their top students Ibuki and Tsutsumi. But one day, away from the rivalry and fighting, the 2 gang leaders meet. Unaware they're enemies, a love begins to blossom between them. Though they're destined to be enemies, will these star-crossed lovers come together? Or is this story destined to be a tragedy? The trapped former villainess wants to escape from the sadistic prince. Volume 1. This one is being published by 7 Seas, and it is written by Usui Katsura with art by Carmilla. The trapped former villainess is a steamship imprint, and it is a fantasy romance not safe for work series that started back in 2020. Ordinary office worker Anna is suddenly reincarnated into an 18+ otome game, but as the villainess. Now in the role of Annalie, she's not interested in hot and steamy fun, she's desperate to escape. Except her husband, the handsome and secretly sadistic Prince Leinhard, isn't letting her go easily. Instead, he's pressing her to reenact their wedding night to help her regain Annalie's memory. Will she be able to resist his touch, or is she destined to bend to his every whim? From Yen Press, we have the release of The Anemone Feels the Heat Volume 1. This one is by Ren Sakuragi, an ongoing GL series that first started publication back in 2020. I want to learn to like you. After screwing up the entrance exam for the high school she wanted, Studio's Nagisa has resolved to keep her chin up and move on. That is, until she meets a sickly girl named Mashiro at her new school, the very same girl who threw a wrench into her plans on exam day. Every time Nagisa looks her in the eye, she remembers her failure. Even so, she vows to warm up to Mashiro rather than hate her. And when Mashiro is inspired to change her own outlook on life, it may just bring them closer than Nagisa ever expected. From Titan Comics, we have The Godless World of Onee-chan, Volume 1. This is by Shinya Murata with Tokisada Hayami. This one's an ongoing action comedy fantasy isekai spin-off of Working for God in a Godless World. Chiyomaru Urabe has a cheat level super strength taken from the powers of Mitama, but when her younger brother goes missing after the cult they grew up in enacts some strange ritual, she must enter a world without religion to find him again. Exploring this strange, faithless land, can she use the powers her god has granted her to achieve her goal? From Viz Media, we have the release of Kaiju number 8 B-side Volume 1 from Keiji Ando, Kentaro Hidano, and of course original story from Naoya Matsumoto. This is an action sci-fi spin-off of Kaiju number 8, 12 chapters that were released back in 2024 and will be collected across 2 volumes. See Hoshina, Shinomiya, and others in the past as they struggle to find themselves through battle with deadly kaiju. In the first of 2 volumes, Hoshina's backstory comes to light. The harsh words of his father could have hobbled Hoshina for life. But Hoshina is not your average kaiju fighter. Armed with his signature swords, he shakes free of the doubts of the past, determined to take down kaiju and make a name for himself. From 7 Seas, we have the release of The Long Summer of August 31st, Volume 1. This is by Ikado Ito, who you might be aware of as the creator of I Am Not Meat. This one's an ongoing comedy romance sci-fi seinen series that started publication back in 2023, and it tells the story of high schoolers Suzuki Takaya and Takagi Kana, who are both caught in an endless repeating August 31st. They are the only ones who remember each loop, the likely cause, Suzuki's unfinished summer mission to secure a girlfriend and lose his virginity, the ultimate teen goal. From 7 Seas, we have Seduced by the Demon King, A Sensual Rebirth, Volume 1. This is written and drawn by Foxy's. This one's a steamship imprint, so it is not safe for work. It is an ongoing fantasy romance series that started back in 2020. Haruka's life has hit a dead end. Her career is stalled and her love life is non-existent. But everything changes when a shooting star crashes at her feet, revealing a sinfully handsome man who claims to be the Demon King. Even more shocking, he insists Haruka was once his sworn enemy, a saint in a past life. Though she has no memory of their shared history, he seems to know everything about her. Bent on revenge, the Demon King vows to take Haruka on a journey of exquisite ecstasy, only to plunge her into the depths of despair. His motives may be dark, but the offer of passion and adventure is far more enticing than her mundane reality. Is she ready to embrace the pleasure and the peril that comes with surrendering to a demon's touch? From Square Enix, we have the release of The God-Slaying Demon King Volume 1. This is by Ezogin Gitune, Pig Third, and Teddy. Hope I pronounced all of that correctly. It's an ongoing action-adventure fantasy series that started back in 2022. After centuries of war between demons, the world was finally united under the overwhelming power of Hiram, the strongest demon king in history. No demon could match him, but even the mightiest king cannot so easily defeat a god. When Hiram defied the demon god, he and the deity engaged in days of fierce battle where, in the end, he was cut down by divine punishment. The demon king, however, is never without contingencies. Hiram cast a spell that in the event of his death would reincarnate him years later with all his powers intact. Only this time he would be born as a human, a race the demon god has no power over. With his life restored, Hiram begins a grand adventure to find the demon god and kill him once and for all. The Climber, Volume 1, published by Viz Media. This is based on the work by Jiro Nita. It is a manga adaptation by Shinichi Sakamoto, also created alongside Yoshio Nabeta and Hiroshi Takano. It is a psychological sports drama seinen series that ran from 2007 all the way to 2011, 170 chapters collected across 17 volumes. However, for our English release, we are looking at 8 omnibus editions. Buntaro Mori is a loner, but being alone in a crowd is almost as bad as being forced to fit in. When a dangerous bid for solitude introduces Mori to the rush of solo climbing, he becomes addicted to the brilliant sense of freedom he finds as he pits his body and soul against the heights. But how high does he have to climb to leave humanity behind? Gene Bride Volume 1. This one is by Hitomi Takano and it is published by 7 Seas. A highly anticipated romance josei series at 20 chapters released across 4 volumes. This was published back in 2021 to 2024. Isahaya Ichi is fed up with men, a woman navigating a world where she's underestimated at work because of her gender and sexually harassed. But when her former classmate Masaki unexpectedly shows up, everything changes. He claims to be the other half of her destined pair from a junior high school event called Gene Bride, where genetic information matched students into couples for a day. While Ichi barely remembers the event, Masaki's sudden reappearance sparks a journey of rediscovery and buried secrets. Also from 7 Seas, we have the release of Waka Takaze's Mii-chan Wants to Be Kept Volume 1. This one's an ongoing rom-com seinen series that first started publication back in 2023. Nice guy grocery manager Iori is stuck in a rut. He's overworked, underappreciated, and still grieving the disappearance of his beloved cat. But one fateful night, after rescuing a stray on his home, Iori wakes up to a shock. The stray is gone, and in its place is a feisty, naked girl. Pushy, adorable, and oddly familiar, Mii-chan isn't just crashing at Iori's place, she's hiding a big secret. As Mii-chan paws at his heart, Iori's life is about to take a perfectly unpredictable turn. From 7 Seas Entertainment, we have Punk's Triangle from Yuho Okita. This is a steamship BL that's not safe for work, 7 chapters collected across one singular volume that was originally published from 2022 to 2024. Fashion student Chiaki dreams of seeing his designs on the runway, worn by none other than Ai, the charismatic male model who changed his life. When a prestigious competition promises to make that dream come true, Chiaki is fired up to win, but his hopes are dashed when he's paired with the clumsy and unfashionable Enaga for the project. One fateful night, after a run-in with some delinquents, Chiaki is unexpectedly saved by his idol, Ai. Even more shocking, Ai seductively offers to teach him how to have fun at night. From Kodansha, we have a Shuso Oshimi release, Toxic Daughter, Chi-chan. This one is a seinen horror manga that was published back in 2024. This will be 10 chapters collected across one volume. Also worthy to note that this manga is written as a prequel spin-off to a horror movie called Doku Musume. It's been years since Chi, a mysterious outcast and borderline dropout, and her childhood friend Yua last spoke. One day, Chi shows up at school with a handful of dead bugs and starts a commotion that gives Yua's classmate, Golden Boy Kodai, an idea. He's going to bring Chi back into the fold, and he needs Yua's help to do it. But good intentions can lead to bad places, and the darkness in Chi may be more dangerous than they ever imagined. From 7 Seas Entertainment, we have Virgin Marriage, A Maiden Voyage into Passion's Embrace, Volume 1. This is by Chizu Aoi with art by Kichi Kojima. Virgin Marriage is an ongoing, not safe for work josei series that started publication back in 2020. Newlyweds Kurumi and Keiichiro have had a happy first year of marriage, getting to know one another and starting their new life together. Except one major thing is missing. They haven't had sex. Despite being married for a full year, the two have yet to consummate their union, and so far there are no signs of that changing. And as their anniversary approaches, Kurumi wonders if they'll ever take things to the next level. While she loves her husband and all his quirks, what she really wants is for him to satisfy the burning desire within her. But with both of them being completely inexperienced and easily flustered, their wedded bliss could turn into a serious pent-up mess. From Yen Press, we have the release of Bocchi the Rock side story, Kikuri Hiroi's Heavy Drinking Diary, Volume 1. This one is done by Aki Hamazi and Kumicho. We follow Kikuri Hiroi, the genius bassist of Sick Hack, terror of concert venues, eternal deadbeat, and all-around poor role model, has long held that there's no problem you can't drink your way out of. Whether it's the failing economy, overdue rent bills, or just plain old social anxiety, a quick trip on the spiral of happiness will help everything work itself out in the end, right? Surely her personal life isn't a total disaster, right? Find out in this spin-off to Bocchi the Rock. From Yen Press, we have the release of Reincarnation Coliseum Volume 1, The Weakest Skill Conquers the Strongest Women and Creates a Harem. If you haven't guessed by now, this is an ongoing shonen harem isekai not safe for work series that started back in 2022, and it stars the character Koji Mikagami, who is painfully average in every way, except when he's playing video games. So getting summoned to a magical world and granted the ability to copy his opponent's skill should have been his way to the top. Before he gets the chance, he's thrown into the Coliseum as a combat slave for his trash tier skill. In the midst of his despair, he realizes only one path remains open to him: beat down the strongest girls with the weakest skill and make a name for himself. From Yen Press, we have Tamaki and Amane. This is by Fumi Yoshinaga. It is a drama romance that lasted from 2022 to 2023. 6 chapters collected across 1 volume. This is by the same creator as Oku, The Inner Chambers. Family, romance, friendship, endless relationships tether us to the people we love. From the Edo period to modern day Japan, the post-war era to the 70s, Tamaki and Amane's fates intertwine time and time again. From Yen Press, we have the 31st Consort Volume 1, created by Tsubasa Nanaki and Nanao Yamashita. This one's an ongoing fantasy romance shoujo that started back in 2018. No lady wants to be chosen as the unfortunate 31st consort candidate. After all, being the lowest rank means only one chance to see the king every few months. That's perfect for Feria though. Hailing from the far remote territory of the kingdom and uninterested in marriage, she'd much rather tend to her lovely herb garden than vie for favor. But when the inevitable visit on the 31st comes, what's to become of her romance? From Square Enix, we have the release of Wash It All Away Volume 1 from Mitsuru Hattori. This is a comedic slice-of-life seinen series that lasted for 10 volumes, collected across 2017 to 2023. For 2 years, Wakana Kinmei has run a laundry service in the seaside resort town of Atami. Kinmei Cleaning is a well-loved business, and Atami residents admire Wakana's devotions to her trade. She builds a fulfilling life, making friends with the locals and visiting hot springs. Although Wakana has no knowledge of her own past, her cleaning services safeguard memories imbued in customers' precious items. From Denpa, we have, hopefully, the release of They Were 11 from Moto Hagio, the legendary mystery sci-fi classic shoujo series, 4 chapters across 1 volume that was released back in 1975. Now, I do have to point out that this has been delayed multiple times, but all signs lead to an actual release in the month of April, so fingers crossed it finally happens. 10 elite space cadets from different races spread across the galaxy are assigned to board a decommissioned spaceship as their final test. Their orders are to survive as long as they can with what they have. Once in the ship, they find that their crew has gained an 11th member. Given the circumstances of the cadet selection process and how rushed the exams were, no one can remember the original members well enough to recognize which is the new face nor how they got there. As the days pass, the 11 must deal with the suspicion of each other as well as the sudden news that the spaceship is in dire straits. From Tokyo Pop, under the Love Love imprint, We're Not Cut Out to Be Lovers, Volume 1 by Ko Hirokawa. This one's an ongoing BL series that started back in 2021. It's been 6 months since broody auto mechanic Kumazawa moved in next door to Koichi, a streamer who claims to be an expert on love. After one too many loud recordings, Kumazawa finally snaps and shows up at Koichi's door, only to shut him up with a passionate kiss. Kumazawa has no interest in pursuing a straight guy, but Koichi stops by night after night and won't leave until he's satisfied. Coming off the heels of a traumatic breakup in which his partner cheated, Kumazawa is convinced he and Koichi won't work out, but Koichi is determined to persuade him otherwise. From Tokyopop under the Love Love imprint, Fated Not to Meet by A. Ajo. This one is an ongoing BL series that started back in 2022. Izumi, the sales ace with excellent grades, good looks, and great communication skills, has someone he absolutely cannot lose to. His name is Sendo, the most unlikable man who took the top spot from Izumi. Izumi was the top salesman and a fan favorite amongst the girls in the office. That is, until Sendo came along. When a friend recruits him to be a plant for a gay dating app, Izumi agrees, so long as he never has to meet anyone in person. But when he makes a connection with Kei, the temptation to meet his new friend becomes irresistible. After all, even if they meet, it's not like they actually have to start dating, right? Well, turns out Kei is none other than Izumi's rival, Sendo. Moreover, what Sendo has in mind for Izumi isn't exactly dating, and the intense pleasure that awaits them both might just be worth defying fate. Toxic Super Beast Volume 1, published by Titan, written and drawn by Mii-chan. This is an ongoing action sci-fi kaiju series that started back in 2022. As the fog clears and colossal creatures stand as tall as mountains, a fierce five-headed dragon appears once the fog descends, setting the stage for an epic battle between humanity and the Super Beast. From One Piece books, we have Detectives These Days Are Crazy, Volume 1 by Masakuni Igarashi. This one is an ongoing comedy mystery seinen series that started back in 2016. Behold, a great detective who thrills the world, solving impossible cases in no time. His name? Keiichiro Nagumo. But all of that was over a decade ago. Now he's just your typical middle-aged dude. Nagumo is behind the times to the point that he doesn't even know what a smartphone is, but out of the blue, he is confronted by a high school girl named Mashiro, who shows up wanting to be his assistant. Witness the miracles a gender gap detective duo can make. From Kodansha, we have the release of A Vampire in the Bathhouse by Nico Izuki. This one is a full story, all 7 chapters collected across one volume, which was originally published from 2021 to 2022. Luca is your picture-perfect vampire. He's good-looking, he's regal, he's also usually incredibly hungover and exhausted, and wants nothing more than a change of pace from his routine. When he takes a peek into the human world, he finds just the cure he's looking for, a relaxing Japanese bathhouse that will surely cure him of his hangover and rejuvenate him from head to toe. To blow his fatigue out of the water, Luca pays a visit to Full Moon Baths, where he meets the bathhouse's eldest son, Sakura. But between the bathhouse being short-staffed and taking care of his little brother, Sakura has enough to worry about without a bougie vampire being added to the mix. From Kodansha, we have the release of Gaea-tima, the Gigantis, Volume 1, written and drawn by Kent. This is an ongoing action sci-fi seinen series that started back in 2023. A monster that people called Gaea-tima devastates a small seaside town. 10 years later, the resilient community has emerged as a tourist destination, and Miyako, who became a local celebrity by surviving the attack, is making a living selling mini replicas of the beast. But when Gaea-tima returns, Miyako and her neighbors will discover that their enduring connection to the creature goes deeper than tourism and trauma. Just what is the true agenda behind the attack of the Gigantis? From Seven Seas, we have Catman by Parari. This one is 7 chapters long, collected across one volume that was first published back in 2020. In a world where humans and humanoid cats coexist, shy Catman Hachisuke struggles with being seen as just a cute object. Trying to fit in among humans who don't fully understand him, he faces society's hidden biases head-on. This story challenges us to see the world differently, through the eyes of a cat who just wants to belong. From Seven Seas, we have My New Boss is Goofy, Volume 1. This is by Dan Ichikawa, an ongoing slice-of-life seinen series that started back in 2019, and it tells the story of Momose Kentaro, who is forced to change jobs after being constantly bullied by his old boss. This 26-year-old is understandably anxious about what's in store for him at his new workplace. After all, what if his new boss ends up being just as cruel? However, Momose's fears vanish once he meets Shirozaki Yusei, a deadpan yet competent manager who is anything but scary. In fact, he's actually a little goofy. From 7 Seas, we have Idol Story, Volume 1 by Shotaro Tokuno. This one's an ongoing GL Idol music series that started back in 2022, and it is by the same author as New Game. Meet Mimi, a college grad working part-time at a convenience store. Once an aspiring idol, she abandoned her dream when her group failed to make it big. Enter Ibuki, a rising star inspired by Mimi's past. Their unexpected encounters reignite Mimi's passion for the spotlight. Together, they decide to audition for a high-stakes idol competition show. Can they achieve their dreams and forge an unbreakable bond, or will the intense rivalry tear them apart? From 7 Seas, we have Gaea-chan Isn't Scary, Volume 1 by Yuri Taro. This is an ongoing supernatural seinen manga that started back in 2022, and it tells the story of Gaea-chan, a notorious problem child in her kindergarten. But none of the adults know her secret, until Chi-sensei is put in charge and learns of Gaea-chan's hidden ability to see evil spirits and vanquish them with a punch. What will happen to this 5-year-old who gets in trouble when she's only trying to help? From Yen Press, To Sir Without Love, I'm Divorcing You, Volume 1 by Hiroto Tsumugi and Airumu. This one's an ongoing shoujo romance series that started back in 2023. On the day Bailetta is supposed to meet her husband-to-be, the man's gone off to war. 8 years later, as she's enjoying her spouseless married life, Bailetta receives news that he is set to return. Determined to keep her man-free lifestyle, she sends a divorce letter. But the man, whom she still hasn't met, responds with an outrageous wager to sleep together for a month, and she's free to go if she doesn't conceive. And there we go, a lot of new Volume 1s coming out in the month of April. Which ones interest you the most? Let me know in the comment section down below. And if you haven't, be sure to hit the like button, share the video, become a member if you can, or join my Discord server. That link is down below as well. Thank you everybody once again. God bless, stay safe out there. I will catch all of you on the next one.